T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Shout out to US ARC and all US ARC members. If you don't know what US ARC is, don't be ashamed. Just go ahead and click the third link in the description below. See what US ARC is all about, okay? You never know when legislations are going to hit your backyard, so that's why it's very important to consider becoming a US ARC member today. These numbers really do matter, and they look at it for consideration when it comes to battling legislation. So first and foremost, thank you, Phil Goss. Thank you to anybody out there who partners up and volunteers with US ARC organization. Thank you for anyone out there who's a US ARC member. And if you can't become a US ARC member today, please talk about it on your platforms. Let your neighbors know, let all your pet stores know what US ARC is here for, and it's here to fight for our animal rights. Thank you to every US ARC member and US ARC supporter out there. Choo!
All right, Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world. This is Krista with the Girls Who Love Reptiles podcast, episode 58. Really excited to have Nikki from Dixie Reptiles on tonight to talk about all the species that she produces, all of the projects that she's in, especially with the Crested Geckos. So I think it's going to be a fantastic show. I've had a lot of people recommend her, especially Marshall Mendez, one of my good friends of mine. So really excited to have her on. We talked a little bit backstage, and I could tell the conversation is going to flow really, really well. So I'm looking forward to tonight. And again, if you guys have questions, put them in the chat. And I'll bring them up on the page so we can answer them. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that notification bell. Subscribe. We have episodes 7 days a week. Pull up the little calendar. I know mine are going to kind of bearing on the time based on the guest, but we have, like I said, episode every single day of the week, pushing out the best material that we can for you guys, people from a lot of different species and backgrounds and experience. So don't be afraid to hit that like and subscribe. And then if you're looking for a Patreon, that should be in the description below via a link to join that. So I hope all you guys are having a great week. It's been a crazy 2 weeks for me. I've been working a ton. I had to work this weekend, so I'm a little bit tired from that. But that's how it is sometimes. I made the couple weeks go by fast. So again, I'm really excited to kind of chill and do this. It's a lot of fun and helps kind of get me out of my space a little bit and be myself. And yeah, it's fun to do. So I'll say hi to you guys, and I'll talk about the sponsors, and I'll bring on our guests. So we got quite a few of you in the chat tonight. Appreciate that so much. So we got Joey. Thanks for tapping in from JJ Snake Experts. Reptile Oddities, thanks for tapping in. Of course, we got the lovely Amanda from PJ's Creations. She's been one of my strongest supporters, and I really, really appreciate her. So thanks for tapping in. And then, of course, we got Shane from Above All Scales. We got Marcus all the way from Sweden tapping in. Thanks, Marcus. And then I'll kind of wrap it up here with Richard. Hey, thanks for coming in with Celtic Reptiles. I know he's big into the Cresteds and lived pretty close to me, actually, in Missouri before I moved here. So excited to have him tapped in. We will do the sponsors. So, of course, we have ReptiCo. So Channing, she's the daughter of Billy and Dawn Rice from Rice Reptiles. She's starting her own company, producing really high-end and very high-quality hognoses and crescent geckos. So if you haven't followed them on MORPH Market, follow them ReptiCo, and then on Instagram they are Official ReptiCo, and then also the Rice Reptile family. They have a great YouTube channel where they're pushing out weekly content. So if you're not subscribed to them there, go ahead and do that. Follow them on Instagram, MORPH Market, and all of that to get the updates on what they're producing. And then we got Brian Susan from SUNDOWN Reptiles. Very well known, especially in the Chewy game and the Tree Monitor game. I have quite a few of his production behind me here, and really happy with the quality of the animals. So again, if you're interested in any of those species, he does a lot of other gecko species too. definitely reach out to him. Great guy and great breeder that I look up to. And then we have Blake from Blake's Exotic Feeders with the quail. So if you're looking to add some more variety to your reptile diets, go ahead and reach out to Blake. Tell him the trap sent you, and he will get you set up. And then we will finish it with Clutch. So if you're looking for kind of an interface system to keep all of your ball python projects aligned and succinct and just in an organized manner, definitely look into Clutch. They're always looking to just make it really user friendly, coming out with new features all the time. They're very well at listening to people's suggestions and very capable of making those changes and making their customers happy. So again, if you're looking for a way to organize your projects, definitely look into Clutch. I know they are adding other species in the new future, so I am really excited when they do that. So with that, we'll bring Nikki on. We'll go ahead and get started. All right. Hey, how's it going?
Good evening. So glad to be here.
Awesome. So glad to have you here too. How was your weekend?
It's been very just busy but good. Playing cleaning cages and feeding and trying to decide. It's that time of the year where I'm deciding what things are going to get purged and what I keep for projects. So that's been the weekend.
Very cool. It kind of sounds relaxing for the most part, like at home, kind of. Yeah.
Yes.
I had to being work this weekend, but I should get a rest next weekend, so I'll be able to chill for a little bit. So yeah, otherwise it's been good. But yeah, super excited to have him. Where are you from originally?
Alabama.
Yep.
Yes.
Right by Marshall. That's where you recommended. Very cool. Down in the south. And we spoke a little bit backstage, but you went to Tinley a few weeks ago. How was that overall?
It was really good. The market's still a little weird, but it was really good. Still a very good show. And also it was great for networking and seeing everyone, and then also showcasing some of my projects that I'm working on.
Super cool. Is this, how long have you been going to Tinley? Do you usually go to every show or only spring or fall or? Okay.
We vend March and October, and I think I've been vending there for probably at least 6 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You felt like kind of go into like the market, what you're kind of thinking right now with it specifically.
Just with the economy and everything the way that it is, and then also other things popping up like online auctions and Palm Street and different things like that. All of that stuff affects the market, but when you throw all that together, it's just a hodgepodge of up and down.
Yeah.
So, but I think quality is still holding. I think that's what people have to keep in mind. It's not about popping out just large quantities of things. This is the point where people really need to be focusing and honing in on what do I want to work with and what is going to benefit the community and also their projects.
Yeah, I think I've seen a general shift in that direction.
Yeah.
To people kind of focusing a little bit more on projects and not producing just to produce. And I think that's a good direction to go in, especially in some of these species that are so common, cresteds, ball pythons more so with me. So yeah, I generally think overall that's a pretty good direction to go in, depending on how you're doing. I think for me, it's more of like a side hobby. It's not full time. It won't be for a very long time. So I'm able to kind of focus a little bit more.
Yeah, this is something I do because I enjoy it. That's the primary purpose of why I do it, is because I love it. I could talk about this all day long from when I wake up to when I go to sleep. So I even, my husband does it as well, but we do split off on projects. So he gets tired of hearing me talk about things and he's like, call one of your gecko friends. And I'll be at night laying in the bed, scrolling through, looking at different things, and it's just passion. So, but I do have a full-time job as well. So that this is just strictly enjoyment for me.
Yep. Same for me. And I like it that way. I think going back to like the quality over quantity is what we all should kind of be sort of striving for. And people, I think, are still paying for the quality.
Yes.
And then I would say more so than you're always gonna have people that are looking for the cheap thing or quickest buck, or maybe that's where the auctions come in. But yeah, dogs are excited.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about putting them outside really quick. I'll put them outside really quickly just so that they're not barking. Okay,
sure. Go right ahead. No, I totally feel that. That's why I'm glad my cats don't bother me anymore.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm coming.
You're good. I have a cat and dog. Usually my cats are yelling at the door.
People that know me and know me from Tinley know that I breed Italian Greyhounds. So I have Iggy's in the house, and they heard something in the backyard that got them all excited.
Super. Yeah. That's really cool too. Yeah. I'm gonna kind of go up on a side here with that because I think I'm just curious. But have you bred the Greyhounds longer than the Reptiles, or was it after?
After. I actually wasn't intending on breeding them originally. I had Chinese Cresteds as pets, a couple of those. And when my last one got old and died of old age, my husband had a pit bull when we got married. And he said, about 3 or 4 years passed, and I said, I need another small dog. I have to have a companion dog, and I'm ready for one. He said, please don't get another one of those hairless dogs. So I said, okay, well, how about an Italian Greyhound? And I was familiar with the breed. So he said, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I got one, bring her home. And short story is she bonds with him and he took my dog. So I said, well, I'm going to have to get another one. And then I started researching, and being in genetics and things like that, I looked at lineage and looked at where they came from and all of that type of thing, and ended up landing on a pair because I said, well, no one in the state that I have seen breeds these. So I got a pair, and now I have a trio. So I've got a male and 2 females that we breed here and there.
Very cool. Have you, I'm assuming with the lineage, kind of applied what you've learned from the reptiles into the dog? Because like, the guests last week brought up like the horse racing kind of approach, which is, I think pretty similar with dogs. I would say. Like,
I looked at the colors, and I looked at to make sure that there wasn't a lot of overlap or anything like that. Made sure there weren't any deficiencies in the genes. Like, so for example, on Iggy's, I know we're not talking about reptiles, but just like teeth issues, eye issues, anything like that, hereditary. So so I just want strong pets that people can enjoy for a long time.
Yeah. They're super cool dogs, super fast, and then they're just kind of chill in the house. If I
27 miles an hour is their top speed.
Wow, that's fast. Their dog, incredible.
I love them.
So, how kind of take us to the start of the reptiles? Like, what kind of started with that, and
My journey started very young. I'm a toddler. As a toddler, I lived in a neighborhood, and I would go outside and I would catch any kind of bug that I could find. So my mom noticed that I was just fascinated with insects. And then at 5, we moved to the country. Our family had land, and we moved onto an 80-acre farm. And that just made my whole world explode in such a good way. I was in heaven. I was like, what is all of this stuff? So I would find anything and everything, and I was still heavily into bugs, but I would bring home turtles, tadpoles, lizards, anything that I could catch, I was bringing it home. And they were very supportive. They were not interested in it at all, but they were very supportive. So my aunt got me the Audubon Book of Insects, and I would take that book. It was like my Bible. And I would go out and catch bugs. And then if I found one that was in that book, I would get excited and I'd highlight it. And then years later, I was still into this stuff and doing these things. So she put me in touch with an entomologist at Clemson who became like a pen pal to me. And he would send me supplies like pens and all kinds of gear for entomology. And then I decided that was what I wanted to do. So I was going to college originally to study entomology. And through those years too, I had acquired things like tarantulas and stuff. My uncle got me my first one for Christmas. Christmas had about gone and passed. And he was the uncle that always got you what you wanted for Christmas. And I told him I wanted a tarantula and didn't get one. And then right at the end of the night, from behind the tree, he pulls out a critter keeper and he got me one. So that just really sent things into high gear. And that's when I decided that was the career path that I wanted.
Yeah.
But as life takes you in different directions, I ended up I'm in the financial industry, but I do this as a hobby. And when I started doing this as a hobby, insects, of course, were my primary thing. I used to have a business called Nikki's Teas, and I did tarantulas and invertebrates, and I did leopard geckos.
Okay.
But that was back in the days when they were pretty much like all tangerines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all these fancy morphs that are out now, I could not even keep up with. But that was kind of where I started with things. And then somebody, as far as the Cresteds, which is what I'm most known for, that people know me for, is somebody had their kids had a pair of them, and they didn't want them any longer. And they said, "Hey, my kids have these. Do you want them?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. Let me see if I like them." Well, I mean, as anybody can see, yeah, that kind of took off and sent me down the rabbit hole of crested geckos.
When was this? How many years ago?
Oh gosh, at least probably about 10 years ago on the Cresteds. Yeah. Ballpark right in that range, I think, would be when I started with those. So then I kind of phased out. I still keep invertebrates and a little small colony of or group of leopard geckos, but everything as far as numbers now is going to be crested geckos. But I do still work with other species. I love all the other fun stuff that can be played with. So I have different types of skinks. I used to keep different types of abronia, Australian species like Strophoris. I have that. I just got some spear-tailed leaf geckos.
Those are cool.
They are, yeah. So I've got male and 2 females growing out to eventually breed. Let's see what else. And I do have snakes. I wasn't into the snakes originally until I met my husband. I thought they were interesting and I respected them, but they just weren't interesting to me. And now I have different species of those as well. I've bred and kept womas to, I've got a coach whip. I've got sunset sand boas. There's a ton of different things, but I enjoy it.
Super cool. Which with the leaf tails a little bit, because I'm curious, what's their husbandry look like? I've heard they're kind of like harder husbandry wise.
They can be on these specifically. They like a little bit drier than some of the other ones, so you don't want to get like water on them if you want to try not to, because they like dry shed. So I try to keep it wet on one portion when I spray. But I do bioactive on theirs.
Okay. I've seen them. They're really cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever kind of good with the species I have now. Getting some green tree pythons from MJ pretty soon, and then I held a Mexican indigo at an expo a couple weeks ago, and I can't stop thinking about that animal. So I'm probably good. I have a nice place for a display cage in my house, so I'm like pretty sure
I love the black snakes. I do. I have some of these southern white lips. Those are probably my favorites, and I would love on my want list, and I will get them at some point. Bolins. That's going to be an animal that I have in a very nice display that I'm going to get. But
amazing. I've held them before at Justin Kapilka's house. I've held his that he had out, and yeah, those are like amazing. Like one of those interactions that you'll never forget. Yeah. So yeah, the animal's amazing. And so with all the species, what kind of had you like? What made you choose more of like the Cresteds to kind of focus on them versus the other species?
Well, they're easy to keep. People like them. They're good as far as a sellable animal. And also, as I discovered in getting into them, that the genetic side of things was like really just being tapped into. And that was very intriguing to me. So that is kind of fun for me to try to break things down or try to figure things out, which is just very enjoyable for me. So enjoyed seeing other people do really cool things, and then I found something that was really cool myself. So it's just it's kind of an interesting time in the world of cresteds and what kind of things we're learning about how their genes work.
Can you go into that like a little bit more too with the genes and how they?
Yeah, so like over the past few years, we've had several things come out. Like I'll just highlight a couple: sables, cappuccinos, leucistics, xanthics, different things like that.
Yeah. I've seen some of those combos. The sables I really like. The xanthics I really like. Just like that kind of high contrast. Probably my favorite are like the tri colors though, when they have that really nice crisp like white and I just really like those a lot.
Yeah, and I did bring a couple too, like we were talking about leucistics, for example. I do have some, just to touch on that one specifically, because that's one of the newer ones that people are just now starting to get into. And I think there was a lot of fear on getting into those originally, because some people were confused and they thought it was in the relation to the cappuccinos, which it is not. So I'd like to make that very clear that that's not related to that at all. And they don't have the genetic flaws like that. So I know when you breed cap to cap, often the supers, that's a no-no, we've learned. But these don't function that way. These have all been very healthy. Supers have been bred. The leucistics are breeding. And what most of us that are working on this genetic trait are trying to do, and we've learned on other things, is to outcross plenty, try to keep the genetics strong, and try to bring in better things into the gene. So good, strong lineage, nice, good structure, keeping it outcrossed. I think that's crucial and critical.
With the outcrossing, how do you, because I've always been kind of curious about that. How many generations do you then go to like outcrossing it, or is it different? I'm sure it's different between different breeders, but
yeah, that's very subjective. I try to do it as soon as I can because I don't want to inbreed a lot. So I try to get what I need to get started and then start outcrossing, and then bringing in other things. And the way that functions is pretty easy to do too. So I've already started bringing in, I've taken like visuals and paired to stuff that is 100% unrelated to that at all, just so that I'm making hets, or hets, I'll say that term loosely. I call them visual hets, but just for layman's terms so people understand that. So they will create more, but you're not diluting or concentrating that too much where you're going to start having problems. And I think that's where some of these other genes did have problems like that. Personal opinion. But.
Okay, they were just kind of line bred or interbred too much. You think on these other ones?
Personally, I think probably, yeah. But I think we're at a point where we can start on these and keep them going in the right direction.
Yeah. And we can see some of your guys too if you have them out. We can kind of.
Yeah, I have. This one is from. There's the two lines that had started on this. This is a leucistic. This is out of the Blizzard line. There's two lines. There's Mac line, which is John Mac from the pet store industry. He produces really large numbers, and he and Brian at the Bug Plug kind of popped out their leucistic lines right around the same time. I believe Brian produced his first, if I'm correct. Don't hold me to that. But that one is from his line, and then this one is from John's. And what I am about to do actually is pair the two together, the two lines. And
I was going to ask that, how that works. Yeah.
So to my knowledge, I don't think Brian has done that yet. He's going to do the same thing. But what's funny is he sold one of his Blizzards, which is what I've got here. That was the only one he had sold at the time. Pretty. And he sold it so that he could get into get some of John's lineage to do that same thing. And I was buying his to do that same thing. So we thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I love that gold fleckering on the body. And you find that's different between individuals.
Yes. Well, some of them don't have that coloration. Some are more just like a white on white. Some have a little bit of a yellow tone. Some are a little bit more like a goldenrod color. It's there's variation, and I think that's the other fun thing that we can play with on this is trying to see. I know it's a white gecko, but I think that there is a little bit to play with as far as the color, improving the structure, and then also trying to get some markings on there, because on the lats, sometimes there is like a darker white that goes on there. So
Right.
I'm thinking, let's play with, say, tiger, or can you get spots on it? So that's kind of where I'm at with things, is trying to see what direction we can go with it, with improving the structure and seeing what other genes or genetic things we can get to like play factor into that.
Right. Like I would be curious. It seems like it's be pretty good to combine to other things you're saying. Like you're not seeing any, so you could do incomplete dominant or like other
I
recessive.
actually
right?
did a new thing that, to my knowledge, I don't think anyone has done yet, but it's not something that's not able to be done. I just think I believe that I popped it out first last month. I produced a Frappuccino fire. So that has the triple. It's got lily, cappuccino, and it will make xanthics.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. So it's still very tiny, but that's, just the future of things, playing with stuff.
Because I mean, I feel like they're very same with the ball pythons, like very commonly seen at shows. But if you there's still a very good ability or opportunity for people to kind of come in and kind of play around with the things
Definitely.
and kind of
Mhm.
create their own sort of, I
Mhm.
think, direction or like wave in it. I think you would sort of.
Yeah, and then and there's like I said, so many things we're still figuring out, because I've got some stuff that I've got downstairs and I'm looking at it. I'm like, something looks weird with this, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Or you try to just notice patterns of things when you start hatching things out. So that's how you can initially try to like hone in on something you want to try to focus on and see what it is. Say, for example, Pixel. That's a hot thing that's in the Crested Gecko world now, and beautiful. I love that, and just so many things. So much fun. And
How would you, go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just at like stepping off that. How, if somebody was, wanting to get into Cresteds, how would you recommend they kind of get into it or do it? With they're so common at the shows.
They are. What I usually suggest, if somebody wants to dabble in breeding, like if they're not sure how they feel about it, if they want to try it, look around and see what kind of looks they like, because you want to have something that you enjoy breeding, because that's the whole thing about it, is work with what you love. That's what I tell everybody. Don't focus on trends and things like that. That's great and all, but especially when you're starting, just try to get started with some stuff that you love, and then ask for advice. A lot of breeders, like myself, I'm full disclosure, I am brutally honest in a very nice way. And I want to see people succeed. I want them to have fun. And I want better animals being brought into the industry that are not going to muddy it up. So the more we can educate new keepers and breeders, it's going to help the community overall. So I think we should all, help each other out and don't gatekeep. I know that that's a big thing, but it doesn't help anybody in the long run. So I always try to tell people to pick out things that they like, and then also ask for advice, because you might think, oh, these are two pretty animals, I'm going to stick these together, but they might not be the best things to be putting together. And I like to explain, if somebody asks me why I think that would be a good decision or why I think it wouldn't, and explain why, and then suggest something better as an alternative if I think it's not a good decision.
Yeah, mentorship is key. I highly recommend anybody jumping into this to find somebody that's passionate, successful. That's a huge thing. Success is different for many people, but people who have been experienced in doing it, that can kind of tell you. It's so easy to go in the wrong direction with these things.
You want somebody who knows what they're talking about, at least to a certain degree.
Yep. Because they can get swung to the wrong. How would you, I guess, recommend somebody finding a mentor? Because it's so hard, I feel like now, people can go on social media, and it's so easy to get kind of.
I would look for somebody that's been established for a while, somebody that hasn't just gotten into it as well, because somebody that has been in it longer has more knowledge to give, so they could give you better insight and examples, and they've seen more. So I would look for just somebody that's been around. Look at reviews too on how people commented on those breeders, and look at their stock, and then talk to them, speak to them, and see if they sound knowledgeable.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And then Patreon groups, I think, they've been super helpful for me. I'm sure there's a lot in the Crested Gecko world too with the Patreon. I've gotten a lot of, and just networking, I think, is like key too, especially with all this being so virtual and online in order to kind of get established. I think that's pretty key too. But yeah, I think mentors are so well needed. I've been very fortunate to find pretty good ones that have become just my best friends now. So so yeah, I'm sure you've done the same.
Yeah. So, if anybody does need anything, feel free to reach out. I'm always available. Well, I may not always be available, but I'll always get back with you. So I do stay very busy, but I do always get back with people. And if I do forget, I usually go through my messages to check and see if I've skipped anybody, and I'll eventually get back with them. So.
Very cool. Yeah. At the end, I usually have people do their social media, so we can bring that up too at that. Who have been your mentors?
Oh goodness,
over the years, because you've been in it for quite a long time.
I've got so many just great gecko breeder friends that we kind of just geek out on things. There's so many, I couldn't even list them all. And it just depends sometimes on what subject you're talking about. I may go to one person over another. Goodness, like Candace at Candy Krusties with her sables, and then Kristen with her pixel stuff, and then who else? There's so many. I couldn't even touch on who all has been impactful. There's just so many people that I have spoken to, and we collaborate on things, and that's why I liked, for example, Flora Fauna, because that was a good place where all the passionate people went that could go, and we got to nerd out and talk about things. And I met some new people that I had never even met before that I now know and I'm friends with. And we just nerded out on talking about things and genetics and what we're working on, and just got to go deep dive into that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yep. We talked a little backstage, but I hope they continue doing that show. I'd really like to go there and kind of network a little bit with the gecko people a bit.
Yeah, this was my first time going, but I had a blast. So I really hope she keeps doing that. I would hate to see that not continue, because there were educational programs, there were classes, herping hikes that we got to do. All the way from bonsai, like there was a bonsai class, and there was a photography class, and there was even stuff on Palm Street was there. So they were helping us to kind of utilize their platform. I did sign up on that, but I haven't used it yet.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I've heard they're pretty aggressive with people trying to use the platform, at least on the ball python side. Like I know people that get hounded to do it. So I don't know if they've been that way with you, but
I got messaged a few times, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's for me. But I did speak with them in person, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is kind of watch a few other people's pages and see how they do things, and then determine if that is a good fit for me. But It looks like fun. Yeah, it looks like a fun platform.
I like watching them. I haven't watched any for a bit, but there was a period in time where I was really addicted, just because it's more of like a curiosity thing. But I would just have it on in the background, like listening to stuff. I just found it very interesting because it's like different, a different way of. I think for the geckos, it does work pretty well from what I've seen. Other species, it's tough. Like the snakes, you just get like absolutely like killed on there with the projects and stuff. If you don't have a big following, like some of these animals just go for like way cheaper than they would say on like a MORPH market auction, where people are more invested into the project and kind of understand. Maybe for pets, it would be, but I think where the difference with snakes versus like the geckos, you know, are a little, you don't have to have like a huge enclosure. The care is a little bit, you know, not the live feed. There's a lot. It's a lot easier to make a decision on a I would say gecko than I would say maybe a snake. Because it depends on the snake too. But so that could be part of it too. I don't know what your thoughts on that either, but those are I find it works really well with the geckos from what I've seen.
I really can't give any kind of opinion yet. I haven't watched any. That's what I'm still in the infancy of it, as far as I haven't even watched one yet. I need to.
Okay.
But so I really don't even know how they're styled. So I need to watch a few. Yeah.
Yeah. I would
So
watch it.
Is it kind of like Poshmark when they have the posh parties and they're like,
that's pretty much what it is. I mean, so you have like, you probably scrolled on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
It kind of gives me a TikTok live video vibe with people just showing animals and then people can like bid, like you just swipe to bid and then like people are bidding and it's like, I think you can set the time, but it's like short intervals, like 30 seconds, a minute, and then people can bid up, and then the time is done. And I guess they do like a sudden death, like if there's like a bid, then it adds another like 5 seconds on, and then it'll keep doing that until nobody bids, and then it will charge the person, and then you can do shipping and everything on it. So you can build a following. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I would ever do it or try. I may with the gecko someday. I'm not sure, but with the snakes, I know it's just from other friends doing it. It's like only do pets. Do not do super high end like project animals, or you're not gonna do well.
Well, and that's the thing for me is I try to keep my stuff quality. So that's why I wondered too. I don't know if that might be or might not be the right platform for me. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely going to check it out and see what it's all about. But and like you said about pet stuff, and we were talking about breeding, and then people worry about popping out, think, oh, I need stuff for new people because I've got to have some affordable ones. Well, when you're breeding high-end geckos and you're trying to produce quality, you're going to produce pet quality stuff 100%. In the mix.
100%. I totally agree with that. Same with the bulk. Like, I kind of went back and forth. Do I want to do just pet stuff? But like, even the stuff you don't hit, like that's your pet stuff. So
exactly, that's exactly how we do it too. So like with the ball pythons, we breed those as well. Yeah, my husband's heavy in that. I've got a very few projects in that world, but I do know a fair amount about how the genes and all of the morphs and different stuff. So, and as you know, with different combinations, often you're going to pop out normals or normals with het traits that still sell for pet prices. So with that being said, you're still going to have plenty of stuff to, sell to people just getting started.
Correct. Yeah.
I try to tell people don't, and that's why back to the numbers thing, because I would rather sell, one gecko for $300 and you're selling however many for $50. You're having to work harder to sell more, feed more, and house more. So my recommendation is, whatever you can afford, try to get like the best quality animal that you like, and then focus there and start small, and then just kind of go into it from there. You can always upgrade.
I've also heard like with Crested even too, like really focusing on the structure and just simple, like tricolor, just for example, like really focusing on good expression of the gene, structure, all of that before trying to like mix and match with everything, different other morphs and other recessives, like kind of focusing on a really good stock line that you can then that's just what I've heard. It kind of stuck with me because I thought it was an interesting take, and sounds like you probably are kind of similar with that starting out, and then obviously you can kind of
exactly. I totally agree with you. And a lot of people don't get why the Crested gecko people are so into the lineage. And I myself didn't when I first got started. I'm just going to, be honest here. I was like, this crazy Crested gecko people. I'm like, they like name their geckos and they've got the lineage and all this stuff. And I'm like, what's up with that? And then I got those two that I was talking about. And then I started researching into it and understood the why of it. And it was because, as I think most people know, but if you're not into this section of things, you won't know or may not know that there was just the original stock that came in and nothing was coming out of there any longer. So essentially everything came from the same pool. So it's important to keep track of the lineage on those animals so that you can kind of keep things as outcrossed as possible and also identify things. So back in the day, people really didn't keep the lineage. And now, because we are doing that, is how we are finding things that we're pinpointing now as far as some of these traits and genes.
Yep. I would say, kind of branching off, I had a topic and then I lost it. No, it's okay. Happens like that. But yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I would. Something that's so, easy to make. That you see a lot of. I think that's a good approach with too. And then rolling. I think they get caught it back too in the beginning. We talk about like pricing and stuff too. Like as bad as it kind of sounds, I've heard the comment actually at people at shows that they don't. The cheaper it is, they don't care about it as much, which is sad because it's still a living animal too. That's why I struggle with still making things affordable, but also having like, you know what I'm kind of saying? Like
my base price is $100 for a pet gecko. And I hold that
fair.
Yeah, because I've put my time into it. I've raised that animal. I try to produce quality animals. So even if somebody's getting a pet one from me, it's still going to be a nice animal that they're going to love for a long time. I make sure it's healthy, it's doing well. I don't sell them super small. And else, with the exception of sometimes I'll let some little things go if it's another breeder and they know what they're doing and they're going to use it for something. But as far as like pet side of things, I try to make sure that things are a substantial size, that they're well established and pretty.
Yep. I think that's a pretty good baseline. I've done that too. I did like leopard geckos and how I've some at that baseline, and yeah, some people were like, oh, well, this one's over here for like $20, so I'm gonna get that one. And I think you're always kind of gonna have that. But again, I think if you're focusing on quality and stuff, like people will kind of gravitate toward.
I did notice we just had a comment. I was trying to read that about, I don't know if they were agreeing or disagreeing. It says I've been to that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll see if they reply back. I'm just so
what you're meaning there.
They might reply back too, but I've also seen it like as a vet too, because I do consult with reptile cases, and I've seen just really bad like neglect cases with animals, and like they will literally tell me like, oh, we paid like $20 for this animal. Like they don't value it.
Yeah, he or she wrote back and said they've been told that, and that their reply is it's BS. So they apparently don't feel like price should be a factor. Factor in. Oh, okay. So I'm just curious. I like interacting with the people too. So I'm just curious, what do you think the price should or should not be a factor of? Like when I'm a little not sure where they're going with that.
Yeah, he may reply back. It's just like I want to make sure the animal goes to a good home, and like it's hard. I mean, you're kind of risking that by doing shows anyways, because you can't always like vet the people. But I feel like having the price kind of can help with that, just from what I've seen on the vet standpoint and what I've heard from people and seeing the animal neglected and just
Well, and where you started with that. So I have seen people selling stuff like super dirt cheap, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Some are just not great breeders, and some people are just trying to sustain because the industry is kind of weird right now, and they're marking things down because that's their livelihood and they're trying to sell things. So I understand there's two paths there. Not every person with lower price geckos is a bad breeder. So I don't, if that's where they were going with that, I agree that's not, I'm not implying that at all. But for me personally, that's my standard price. So for something that I'm going to sell for a pet, that's kind of where I start with things and just kind of go up from there based on what combination, also lineage, structure, all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's also like an education factor too, with people like at the shows and stuff when they ask, why is this one more than say another one? It's kind of like depending on the lineage, the time, like that all adds to it. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't, because the care essentially is the same. I would say.
I've had a lot of people that had seen prices of things that I've had, and they're just like, oh, why is it that price? And then when I have a conversation and I explain about kind of the history of crested geckos, and then also about, like I said, the lineage behind the animal, the history. So say, for example, one of my passion points and one of my favorite types of traits that I work with are super Dalmatians. That's always going to be, no matter what, one of my favorites. And I've got some, I was playing with them before they like took off in popularity, I'd say. So I've got some very deep lineage on those that goes back several generations. And actually I did have my original boy here that I was going to show, and he's a spaz, but I don't know if he's going to cooperate with me, but he's my one that he just suddenly turned spazzy for some reason. He's always been really sweet, but now he's kind of crazy. But he is, of course, he's gonna. But he is my first one that I really was in love with. I had a few other ones, but I don't know if you could see him or not. But he's
a little bit before he jumps.
Yeah. I'll try and hold him a little bit still, which they don't really like, but just so you can see him. Anyway, he was my first one that really got me into this type of morph, the super dolls. And he's a really pretty boy, and he used to have a tail. He dropped it, and he just peed on me. But I won't keep him out, but because he's stressing. But he's the one that really got me into that particular look and that type of thing. So he'll always be in my collection no matter what. I will always have him. But yeah, I've got on my super dolls, I think some of mine go back like 4 to 5 generations. And I try to look at, the lineage of the animal, the types of spots, and that's where I have tried to hone in on different types of looks. So people that are, for example, into that, you could do like red spots, and people have honed in and gotten it where it's just red spots or just the ink spots or a combination of things. So I feel like that's a good example of just like playing with the genes and like looking at the lineage and how you can play with that and turn it into something.
Right. Oh, I think he replied back.
Yeah.
Just doesn't matter if they want to cheaper. Oh yeah, so he's kind of saying.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah, no,
it should be, but based on what I've seen and heard, so that's why it kind of makes me spooked to have something so cheap, because I don't want people just to like have it as a throwaway.
Yeah, and like I said, I know some people have their pricing set for certain reasons, and they're good reasons and bad reasons, and you just have, that's where it comes into talking to the person and knowing that the animal has been treated well and was taken care of, or sometimes it's good to just get it out of their hands. If it's somebody, I have gotten a few that it just was cringy, and I have quarantined and taken the animals, and they were really bad. I had some that I've gotten that were verging on calcium crashes and things. Wow. And took the animals in, got them back around, and they're gorgeous, beautiful, thriving animals now.
Awesome. Huh. Yeah, that's sad to see too. Yeah, I've seen a lot with just doing the contract work with the rep. It's just most of it's just down to like poor care. But yeah, you see some of them, they're like, oh, just became like this, and you're like, no, it took a long time for an animal to kind of get like that. But
exactly. Yeah, and that's why I say education, helping new people, because I know on a lot of forums, people do know me from breeding and stuff, but I don't get on the forums and comment a whole lot. It's so toxic a lot of the time, especially newbies, because we've got to understand they're starting, and we're talking breeders here. Breeders are already ahead of them. So we know more than they do. So they're going to make mistakes. They're going to ask stupid questions, but they're not stupid questions. I tell people, if it's a legitimate question, ask it. Ask me anyway. I'm not going to bash you for it. I'm not going to make fun of you for it. If it's a legitimate question, then ask it. And here's to put that into perspective. Okay, like I said, I wasn't into snakes originally, right? So my husband, I went to his house and he had ball pythons.
Mm-hmm.
This is how little I knew about the snakes. And I don't care. Y'all can laugh, and it's funny because I laugh about it. He hands me this big female ball python, and I said, "Does it have?" I asked about its fangs, and I was, and I didn't know. So I mean, there's a starting point for everybody. And now I know a lot, but everybody's going to start somewhere with things, and the interest is there, and that's where we've got to learn is that the person is interested. So we need to like help them get better, not make them live in a bubble where they're going to keep making mistakes and not get better, and they're going to hurt the animal. So say that to just kind of people be nice. People help other people. Come on.
Yeah. I pretty much stay off the forums too, just because of, I think I chimed in once on one thing and then just got absolutely hammered, and I was like, okay, I'm good now. I don't know what it was.
Well, and everybody's going to have differing opinions on things. Some things are strictly opinions. Some things are facts. Some things are opinions. And you may not agree with someone else's opinion, and that's okay.
Yeah. I think it's like I don't want to say a cultural thing, but there is, where you just have people that will cancel you or whatever if you don't have the same sort of view or something like that.
I listen to everybody, and some people do things this way, some people do things that way. As long as they're not doing something harmful, then I'm okay with what they're doing. And you keep doing what you're doing, I'm going to do what I do. And also listening to other people, that kind of helps me gauge, what do I want to do? Do I want to change something? Do I want to keep doing things the way that I'm doing them? Because sometimes in speaking with people and learning new things, I'll hear something and I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. And I'll start doing that. So we're all learning. I've been doing this for a very long time, but I'm constantly learning stuff as well.
Are there any things that over the course of doing this that you have changed or learned or did stuff differently?
So many things. Okay, so from how I feed in water to enclosure types of setups, going from more synthetic materials like with paper towels and fake plants to going full bioactive on everything. I went at one point, redid every single thing in the whole entire room. It looked beautiful, but I could never find the eggs, and then the feeder insects and all the other stuff kept chewing on the things. And then I was like, well, this is not working. And then I tried river rocks and tried to put those strategically. And I thought, well, they can't get down here. And then I'd find babies in the enclosure. So then I started doing like a hybrid type of situation where it was like partially somewhat bio and then not. So it's a learning curve, and you have to figure out what works for you. And that's different for everybody. As long as the animal's well-being is a factor, then there's so many different avenues you can take on things like that. Yeah. I've played trial and error on several things, and then I found some really cool stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I forgot. Because I feel like every person's situation is like different, so you kind of have to find what works best for you. Yeah.
Scale is also going to play a factor in that. So some really cool things that I've found are some cool finds, like those little portable washing machines that you put in like an RV. Those are great for washing things like food things, towels, different stuff like that. Those are great. The little silicone things you can order on Amazon for feeding. Those are great for feeding. And I might do a post later on the things that I'm just talking about that might be good essentials for things that I've found useful, from different types of loops to things that help make cleaning and feeding a more enjoyable and speedy process, to things that help your cleaning go by faster or more efficiently. So I've got lots of little tips and tricks, and I try to like pepper those into my Instagram page. But yeah,
that would be super helpful. I think that's at least with the chewies. That's what I try to watch a lot of people to see, just tips and tricks, like on the feeding, just more efficient ways to do things. MJ got me on this like electric sprayer, and it's been like absolutely mind blowing. Like just small things like that. I mean, they're relatively easy to keep, but just finding those like little tips and tricks and finding out what works best for you. But oh man, I love the electric
Weren't
sprayers.
those great?
And
I got one too.
yeah,
Yes. Mine holds like 2 gallons and it's battery powered. And I got an extra battery that I keep on the charger all the time so I can swap out.
Yep.
Best
But
purchase ever.
I would say mine's, I'm looking at it right now. I think mine's battery power. I think it's 1.5 or 2. It's like a pretty blue. It's probably maybe the same one. But yeah,
That's the same one I've got. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Amazon probably. But yeah. Super.
When you said blue, yeah, I was like, yeah, that's it.
I think you could probably even boop boop. There it is over there in the corner.
So yeah, definitely. But things like that. Webstaurant is a great site. Check it out, people.
What's it called?
Webstaurant. It's a restaurant store. I used to be in the my ex and I used to own a restaurant. So I multi-purpose things too. And I'm not the only person that shops on there, but like I said, I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't care. So go on there, look for different things, receptacles to hold things, things to feed, things to clean, the paper that you can use in the caging. So lots of good finds on there that you can use, and it's made to last because it's made for a restaurant. So a lot of the times you can use a lot of the gear and supplies and different things like that. So very good website to check out if you haven't. Feeding cups, portion cups.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that too. That would be super helpful. I'm trying to look and see, catch the questions.
Yeah.
Oh, Marcus had one. Yeah, I think he may have bring that up about the donation. Okay.
Yeah, somebody's talking about confetti. Confetti is a line, and also Mardi Gras is a line, which is very similar. Mardi Gras is really old. I have some of both of those lines, and they kind of have smaller spots, and it's a little bit of black, a little bit of red. You might have a little bit of kind of like an inky color in there sometimes, but it's going to be the small spots, which is why it looks like confetti. And Mardi Gras is kind of like the confetti. It's just a different line of Super Dow, and I do have both of those. So, but it's going to be like the smaller spots. So to answer that person's question.
Cool.
And then somebody else was talking about tubing and stuff like that. That's really, Webstaurant for the win.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely look them up too, because that would be super helpful for these little. Yeah, I like the Super Dowels like quite a bit. They're cool, and I do like the different colored spots, which I find.
Yeah, those are just always going to be a favorite, but I do like to work with all the different varieties and colors. I prefer, because there's that debate in the crested world about spots and whether they matter or not. So there's the intentional spots like super dowels, and you want them saturated, or super clean geckos that have no spots. And there's a divide on whether people care about it or they don't care about it. If it's
That's funny.
Yeah. So, and I will say I'm one of the people. I'm a spot snob. I either want them like saturated intentionally on there or none. If there's one spot on a gecko, it's going to drive me bonkers.
I feel like that would be me too. Yeah, I would want the clean stuff, and then either just if it's gonna have spots, and it's gonna have a lot of spots. Yeah.
That's how my projects are. There's the stuff that is, and I've got 2 separate cases for it. So when I go to Tinley, you'll see 2, and one's going to be my super dolls, and one is going to be my non-spotty stuff.
Okay, that'd be super. Yeah, that would also help with the contrast too. Just in general, just like on a table, kind of just seeing it. I don't know. I feel like that when it comes to table placement, that's kind of you want variety and color to kind of draw people's attention in. So I think that would be pretty good. Way to do. What are your thoughts on hybrids? I've seen that with the Chewy and Crested. Like I saw one in person. I thought it was like super cool, but I just was a curiosity question.
I will say originally I have been much of a like purist and locale type of girl all the way to the leeches. And I have some locality specifics, and I have tracked down as best I can to ensure that they're from sources that I know really would be reputable to know that they were. It's so hard now though. You can't do that, say for example, with those or with the hybrids. I was thinking about the negatives to it, but they do look so different. There's no confusing what it is. And they are kind of cool looking. So I'm kind of on the fence on those, but I do think there's some really cool looking ones that I've seen.
Yeah. I forget who is from, but yeah, it just was like it was a Chihuahua Crested hybrid, and it was like
there's some wicked cool patterns and colors on those that are just insane.
And I don't
Yeah.
see anything really. They live in the same area, like the continent. So that's where I have a problem with it. If you're doing it with species that are nowhere near each other, don't have any similar care, like something like in the snake world, like something arboreal versus something that's ground
Mhm.
dwelling, that could really mess them up, like psychologically. But if they're
Yeah.
in like the same area in the wild where they could do it naturally, I've kind of changed. At first, I was like, absolutely no hybrid, but thinking on a
I,
little bit more, I'm like,
you're
I think it's
kind of
interesting.
where you sound like you're kind of where I was with things. I was kind of hardcore anti against it. I don't like it. No, no, no. And now I'm kind of like, some of these are okay.
I kind of want to try it if I'm being honest, like because I have so many chihuahuas. Like I don't know, I'm still going back and forth. I'm gonna do them and think about it quite a
Yeah.
bit, but I don't know. I think it'd be super cool.
Yeah, I think Dave actually Kaufman. I think he did when he did the Tinley walkthrough. He did the top 3 or 5 or something. Which shameless plug in. One of my lizards was in his top 5. So or top 3, I think. So, but the other thing was one of those hybrids, and it was really neat looking. I enjoyed looking at that. It was very cool.
I think Marcus also, yeah, he brought it up too. He saw it in
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Same thing. Yep.
Yeah, it's I think I mean, like the one, it was like this molten lava. I'll have to go watch that video.
Yeah, I
think too.
forgot what he called it. It was something a little bit lengthy on the name, but it was really pretty animal. I did think that.
And it looks kind of different between the two, like color wise. I thought it was like kind of a molten lava, kind of smoky kind of color. I mean, I don't know.
It was very striking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep
and those have been played with for quite a while now, and I've seen some that had a little bit like of a tigery kind of look to them, and they usually have very vibrant colors.
And with my Chua stuff, I like the red stuff, so that's what I'm kind of like focusing on. So I feel like it would look pretty cool. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want to play around too much with it, but I'm like, just the one after I saw the one in person, I was like, I just had the wheels turning a little bit. So, so yeah,
we'll see if you pop some out then maybe in the future.
I don't want people to hate me for it, but that's probably what's mostly I
think if people disclose, and I mean, there's no mistaking that one for what it is. I guess where I get a little bit gray on that is when it gets further down the line. If somebody takes that animal and breeds it, and then it starts looking more like one versus the other, and then it gets confusing. That's something that I think where I go with thoughts sometimes, but if it's just like from that pairing and somebody sells it as a pet, and you can tell that that's what it is.
Yeah, at least when I saw like the body, like I had like a crested head, but then the body shape was more of the Kahoo, and I think it had like the curled tail and everything too. So you'd be able to tell, I think, but then that goes for like anything that you sell. Really, like I can only really say what it is, but then if that person does whatever, I kind of feel like that's with any sort of species.
Look at what people are doing with some of the snake species now with the different combinations, and forcing some weird breedings that were completely unnatural and not from, like you said, not from areas where they would ever cross paths.
That's where I don't really agree with that. I think it just psychologically, and I know there's no probably scientific studies on that per se, but I could see where ethically that would probably be rough, like for the animal, like psychologically. But again, I'd have to also have scientific data, but that's hard to do. So I don't know. I'm kind of like, just maybe not do that, but I don't know. It depends. Any other?
I was looking at that comment. They were talking about that gecko still. Yeah, it did. Yeah, I saw it in person up there. It was very pretty.
And then with the cresteds, like also for pictures and stuff like that, like is there still? I feel like I saw a little while back, but their thing kind of with people, the pictures on the internet sometimes are different than what when the people get the gecko. Like, is that a thing? Like, do you try to take pictures when the animals are fired up and not fired up?
Okay, I do both. So if it's a patterned animal that I'm doing for like color and pattern, I want it fired up. It's hard to always get them to fire up. So often when I sell geckos, when people get them, I try to take the best picture that I can that's true to the color. So I'm always fighting the lighting, trying to get the right picture. So for people selling, try to take good pictures. That's going to be critical in your sales because people cannot tell what the animal looks like if you're not taking good lit pictures or the animal's not firing. So with that being, just helpful attempt there, because I've looked on Morph Market and I've seen some things that I bet in person that they're really pretty, but they just didn't take a good picture. So I always try to take a really good picture. I don't really see a ton of people altering the photos to where it looks super unrealistic. There's a few that pop up here and there, but I'd say in general, you get what you're looking at. Now, again, on patterned animals, I always try to take them fired, but say on super dowels, I try to get them unfired on purpose because I want to showcase the spots. And when they're fired up, often you can't see that. So sometimes I might do both. Like if it's say a vibrant red when it's fired up and then when it's fired down. So.
Yep. Yeah, I think just trying to be as true to what the animal, I haven't sold Chihuahuas yet, but I want to take pictures of both so that they kind of know because they look vastly different between unfired versus fired.
Oh,
so,
definitely. Yeah.
Of course, when
that fire up with like a black base color, but when they're fired down, they're so incredibly pale.
Yeah. It kind of scares me. I look at them, I'm like, are you okay? Because it's like so pale. And I'm like, all right, you're just fired down right now. But I'm like, please don't be dead. They just look super pale sometimes. What brand is the electric sprayer? I think I can hold on. Give me 1 sec. I think I can find in my past Amazon orders.
Mine's downstairs, so I can't glance over at it.
Here it is. I think I have it.
Highly recommend it though.
I think that should. Okay, I posted. I think I had an Amazon link pulled up, so I just went to orders real quick and actually popped up. I think you should see on them, but I sent the link to the one I bought anyway. So
yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. I'm trying to see if any other sort of questions. I don't think I see. We're a little bit over an hour now. Is there any other kind of topics you want to hit up before I kind of start looking at the Instagram and start kind of going deep dive into the projects? Any other animals you want to show? Anything like that?
Yeah, I do want to show a couple of things, which will kind of segue into Instagram. Which would be the Frostbite project. And I'm sure if anybody follows me or has heard about that, most people in the Crested Gecko community have seen it or heard about it or seen some kind of post or something. But lately, there has been a little bit of confusion on the last one that popped out because it's the most visual form of it. It looks very translucent and there's just a little bit of pattern on the back section. And people are getting that confused with the leucistics because of that. It is not a leucistic. It is not related to that at all. I do work with leucistics, but this is totally separate project, totally different thing. And I have the original animal that started the project. I guess it's been like 6 years that, yeah. So she's the originator of the Frostbite project. I'll try to get her to stay still, but if you can see her weird pattern. Well, come here, baby.
She's popped it off.
Yeah, she's like, ooh, laptop.
Yeah, I do that too.
Well, hang on, I gotta get her. They never want to cooperate when you want them to. But okay. So let me see if I can. Nope. All right, Houdini. No. Okay, that's the other side, and if you can see the little spots and speckling on her.
The gold speckling, yeah.
Yeah, and she often has like this purple tint, and you can see that on my page, but she's the originating animal that is the kind of like cornerstone of that project. And she produced the one, her offspring, the first visual that came out is called Frostbite, which you can see on Instagram, along with the other babies that she produced. I've produced 7 of them to date that are visuals. And then the last one is the one I was talking about people are confused on is this one. And this is called, its name is Lucky Number 7. It's the 7th one.
Oh, it's so cool.
It's really, really neat. Very, very beautiful gecko. Very healthy. Everything's looking good. It's a boy. So he is critical to my project, but he is just so much prettier in person than you can even, you can even tell.
It's such an interesting looking animal. Like just the color, the pattern. I love the blue tint that I'm seeing like around the eyes, which is super cool.
Yeah, and that's where you can tell a little bit like the leucistics, they're going to have the dark eyes. So people have been getting this particular one mixed up with a leucistic, but is no relation to that at all. He just was very like high expression, because some of them have the thing with that project is they all come out with translucent toes. And the rest of the pattern kind of varies. So they'll have like patches. They're all going to be translucent, and they all have the toes. But other than that, as far as how that displays on the rest of the animal, it's dealer's choice. You don't know what you're going to get. So the original one, Frostbite herself, she has like a patch under her throat. She's got like patches under her thigh area. And they're kind of like white, translucent, and then it kind of starts speckling out. And it does spread as they get older. So they do change. Wow. Yeah. And then the one right before this has like little white spots on the belly and other places that it's displaying, but they're all on the bottom side of the animal. So it's different that on how that displays. So I'm really excited to keep playing with that. And this animal is going to be critical in me proving it out and showing what it is. There are some things that popped out in Korea that I believe are the same thing, but I can't really commit to that it is or isn't until I prove it out. So what I'm going to do, which will kind of touch on another subject, I don't know if I think we did speak about breeding animals and lineage and stuff. So what I'm going to have to do is breed him back to mom and sister. So that's going to prove out what this is. And I know that's a debatable subject, but when you come out with new traits and morphs, you have to do that at first.
Yep.
Yes. So what I'm going to do after that is start taking those offspring and then start spreading them out. So I want to, and that's why I haven't sold anything from that project. Like nothing has been leaked. Nothing's been released. All of the babies that came out from that original pairing, I have all of them. So I've had offers from Korea and different places. Originally, they wanted to buy it, but I want to keep this clean and I want to keep it strong.
Mm-hmm. That's the right way to, I feel like, to do. If you pop something new, you're not sure what it is. It sounds like it's kind of a polygenic thing. Would it not? Or do you have any sort of idea what it is at this point? Have you bred two together yet? Or no, this would be this one.
What I'm waiting to do. I did take a non-visual, I feel like some of the non-visuals, the ones that don't display the features that I just told you, had some things that I think visually are markers or something like that. So I did pair one that had some weird looks, kind of like the mother, back to Frostbite, one single pairing, and didn't really get any visual of that. So I really need the visual to prove that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it proves out. Super cool that it changes as they get older too, like in a positive kind of, because a lot of things like kind of go out and like, that's pretty interesting.
And actually, I don't know if you have my Instagram pulled up, but I can show you that one you just saw, what it looked like when it was born. Very, very different. It looked like a little salamander or like a panda. It was crazy looking.
That's super. Okay, I have it up here. You can see it, right?
So the top left, that is the same animal you were just looking at.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's when it was born.
Wow, that's so interesting. And the size when it popped out. Anything physically that you've noticed differently with this animal? Or no, it's the same as all the other babies. Grows.
Yeah, they do. They thrive. They hunt. Wow. They do all the things a crested gecko do. And shedding is fine. I haven't had any issues, with the exception of one. Number 5 did have some stuck shed on the toes, and it now has nipped toes, which I feel really bad for. But because they were translucent, I couldn't see it. So I feel horrible about that. I couldn't see it. So just typical things. Not, I wouldn't say that was, just
Yeah.
because it's what it is. That happens with all baby crested geckos. Unfortunately, I couldn't catch it though, and it did get some nipped toes. But yeah, I mean, nothing out of the ordinary.
That's super cool. I'm assuming, yeah, this is like, yeah, him too. Wow, look at that. How it just cleans up the gold flecking. It's just a
Yep.
sick gecko.
And I have found that this does affect scalation. So obviously translucency and then also scalation. So if anybody does get bored and they want to, I call it the roadmap. So on Frostbite, the original animal, I took a microscope that records and I went across the body, and the scales change on different parts of the body. They actually have different types of scales on different parts of the body, which is confusing for me too, because I am very good at sexing even like super tiny geckos. These throw me because the scales are different. So
See, that makes sense.
it's really wild. There's some spaces where there's like no scales and it's just skin. And then there's little micro scales that are super tiny and they have little speckles. And then on another part of the body, it kind of, not in the vent section, up higher, it looks like where you would think pseudopores or something, but it looks more like, how I describe it, as like deflated bubble wrap. Yeah, that's just my description.
I'm picturing. I love popping the bubble wrap. So
yeah, well, that video is on there. It's pinned to the top. You don't have to show it, just in case anybody wants to look at that. It's the that third one.
Oh.
Yeah, that one will go through and you can see up close with the microscope, and then I'll go on the belly section and you can kind of like travel up the gecko.
Oh, that's super cool. Very interesting.
Yeah, and you'll see also on that one, like the purple color that it was lilac purple. It's crazy looking. So very cool project that I'm super, super excited about. And then people have asked me too, because it's taken me a long time. I'm not rushing this project. Everybody's like, well, why don't you just like power feed it and get it breeding and all that stuff? I don't want to do that. I'm trying to keep this a fun project that is ethically done and keeping the animals' well-being in mind, and do it right. I want strong, healthy animals that are going to be, not messed up in the future. And that's one of the leucistics. I actually have that one on Morph Market right now.
That's super pretty. Yeah, it goes. We see it sometimes with the I feel like ball python too. Like people not really more terming things as like a gene without actually proving it out and selling it as such, instead of actually like working it and proving that it is said gene, if that makes sense. There's like a particular one that you always see with like the same other genes, and it's been extremely hard just to get the visual of the one gene. You always see it with other genes, and so it's like brings it up questionable, but it's sold as said gene as if it's already been worked through, which I'm not really sure it is through, if we're not seeing a lot of single gene from the specific, gene, I guess is what I'm saying. You're not seeing only examples of just that gene. It's very few and far between, which is just brings me to question things a little bit.
Yeah. And that's why I say I'm pretty sure I know what this is, but I'm not going to really delve into that yet until I prove it out.
Yeah.
But for now, everybody knows the project is called Frostbite. And once I do define it, it's still going to keep that as like the tag name, just so people know that it's mine.
That'd be super. Yeah, I'm excited to see what kind of it ends up being, because super cool. It's pretty.
Okay, yeah, and I see you just showed. Yes, we do have those as well, and that my husband is really on that side of things predominantly. So if you see ball pythons, that's going to be him, and then we both jointly own and work with several other weird species of snakes. So when he did get me into the snakes, that's one of my dark geckos from my dark line.
Okay.
I've been working on a dark line that is not cappuccino, not xanthic, and is completely clean and spotless. And I'm working on structure too. So I finally, this year, I named my line. So I call it
Cool.
the black outline.
That's
So
super cool.
I do have babies. Hopefully this upcoming season I'll have some more, but they do sell pretty quickly too, because they're not related to any of those things and they're just a clean dark animal. So he's one of the ones that's going to be going into my project.
Super cool. Yeah, I'm doing something kind of similar with the chewies. I bought one from Michael from Jehovah Chamber from his Dark Line stuff. So interested to see how that kind of plays out. But that's a really cool that neither cap nor xanthic. It's something different. I'm trying to talk about the other species with the snakes. Let's see if I can kind of scroll.
I was going to show you too. I don't know if anybody is familiar with David at Tiki Geckos, his Gold Standard Gecko Club, and the. I think that's really. I would like to touch on that for a second, not just because. If you go up again for 1 second, I did get one of my geckos won best yellow gecko. So she won for that. But the whole thing behind it that I'm really excited that David is doing is kind of holding standards to breeders. And it's about breeding the best quality animal that you can. So I think that it's wonderful what he's doing because it challenges us as breeders to be striving for excellence. I think that keeps us to where we are trying to, as we were talking earlier, better the industry, better the animals, come up with better, healthier animals with better colors, better structure, and so forth. So I did get that girl right there. Her name is Flabbergast. She won Best Yellow Crested Gecko in New York.
That's awesome. I love that they do that. I'm kind of like jelly a little bit. Like I want them to do that for the other species. I've heard some things for the ball pipe. It may come, but I've heard some.
It's pretty serious though. Like it gets really serious about. There's a whole thing about criteria of what it has to have, what it can't have, what it needs to be size wise. It's very particular. Kind of like it made me think about breeding dogs. So, but I love what he's doing. As I said, I think that kind of holds us to like an industry standard that we should strive for.
Yep, I totally agree. And I think it helps with the education standpoint too, and helping people understand why. Because I love that they portray it like at the shows, just for people who have no idea what it is or what's going on, can like go there, talk, and understand the why these animals are, say, worth a certain amount, or why it's important when they can visually see these geckos
and
compared to
what a good structured animal looks like, for example.
Yep, I think it just helps immensely with the public education. But yeah, that's super cool. It's such a pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, I had just passed me breeze by it. I had to mention that.
Yup. Let me see where I kind of went back. What am I doing? I kind of missed the other tab. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm back. I went to the other tab. There we go.
Gidgee skinks. Love them.
So these are the skinks you when you said skinks, they're the ones you work with?
I like different types of skinks. I've had fire skinks. I've got northern blue tongues. I've got gidgees. Skinks are fun for me. Also, day geckos is another thing. I've got about 7 or 8 different localities of those. My favorite is Bourbonica, which is actually that one right there. That's a baby. They're from Madagascar, and if you look up the pictures of the adults, they are so beautiful. And I just love those so much.
That's super cool. That's a really I think also the day gecko. I love the electric blue day geckos.
Look up that one when you get a chance, Bourbonica. I'll spell it and send it to you and check it out. But look at the adult phase of that. It's so beautiful. I had seen one on the Reptile report on a photo years ago, and I screenshot it. And I told Terry, I said, I don't know what this is. I said, but I'm going to have to own one. And
definitely send it to me. I'll look because I'm kind of want to get like a bioactive like display with the electric blue because I've always liked them at some point. But if I end up liking the adult, for that. I just like the day geckos and want like a display cage of them.
I like the empty back stuff. That's what you'll see with that red one right there. Red hair. Yeah, I'm working on some empty back stuff. So she's going into that project. Again, nice structure, good color, working on quality animals.
I've heard, I guess empty back, I'm not super up to, what is meant by empty back? I thought it was like where they didn't have any pattern on the back. but no.
A super empty back is what you're going for. So see how it has that weird little kind of look on the dorsum in the middle right there?
Yep.
That's like not the final version you're trying to go after. You're trying to go after the super, which is going to empty all of that out. And it's basically going to be like a real thick, full pin. And then that base color is just going to be filling in that middle of that back. That's
okay.
And I do.
That
Mhm.
makes sense. That makes
I've got
sense.
a super striped baby somewhere in here that I was really proud of. That was stunning. And there's the Strophoris, the spiny tail geckos. Those are from Australia. I love those.
Oh, wow.
That's when I got one to add to my mix.
Those
are fun.
There's so much variety with the geckos. It's like unbelievable.
I've got doom rolls. That's another snake right there. Love those.
Oh wow!
That's one of the babies.
Lychee.
My lychee babies.
Super cool. Oh, it's looks like an asphalt or super asphalt. Yeah, asphalt or rainbow boa. Super cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got Colombians and Brazilians, leucistics, albinos, regulars.
Super cool. You do a lot of species. Yeah.
It's just so much fun. And I don't sleep a lot. So like I said, I do work full time, but I go down in the evenings and this is kind of like my sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. It's helped me like just decompress and de-stress
Yes.
quite a bit too. Trying to find yell out when you see this
okay
back one. But
yeah, and then it's nice that people can just kind of glance through too on stuff.
The chewies.
Yes.
So handsome.
Thank you.
This one's really pretty too.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love the crest. I mean, what they're named for, but the large head and the crest is so nice to see. Wow, this one's like crazy.
Yeah, that's a progression photo. And that's what I'm talking about. And you have to know who you're buying from on Super Dells because some people will have babies and it's good to get those young if you can, because you can usually get them for cheap. Cheaper. A good quality breeder is still going to probably have a decent price tag associated with that. But people either get scared because they don't see the possibilities there. But if you see a breeder that's kind of a focal point, take a chance and get something from like a good pairing like that. That's the same animal. And you can see what it looked like as a baby versus what it turned into.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So like from this project per se for you probably would hold on to them a little bit longer, right? Before selling them?
I have looked at so many of them. I can tell which ones I need to hold and then which ones are going to be nice, but not where I want to hold it. And I'll usually raise them up to a certain size and then sell them. And then I show the lineage, kind of show where it came from, what the history of the animal, and that it will kind of look like that, very likely.
This one's also a very interesting look.
That is out of my time. I've got a gecko that a lot of people know named Hot Cheeto, and he's butter yellow with red stripes, and it's from that project. So it's one of my tigers. Super
cool. I think I saw, I forgot his name, but he's from Who's Gecko, but I saw a video where he was showing off a tiger, and it looked pretty cool. Like it looked like a real tiger. Yeah, I guess I don't remember his name, but I think it was from Who's Gecko.
Yeah.
Geckos from New York, I think.
And that's the only tortoise species I keep are pancakes. I love them.
This is the video here. Oh, yeah. Oh,
they're just so cute. They only have 1 or 2 babies at a time, but I don't care. They're just so adorable.
I'd love to get a cherry head someday when I have my own place. Oh, this animal. I love the contrast with the color and the white. Oh, it's so pretty. It's not fully fired. Wow. That's so...
Yeah, when it's fired, it is such bright orange and the white gets very vibrant.
Yeah.
I wish it would have fired, but it didn't. And that's what I say about photographing geckos. It's such a challenge. It's not like the snakes where it's the color that it is.
Yep.
You have to try to manipulate them to get them to do what you want, and it's difficult. Oh, right there, super empty bag. Overall. Down one.
Oh, I'm lost.
By the garden right there. Yep. That one I was really proud of. That is a super. That's what you're going for. See
I see. Yep.
And that one had great. That was right out of the egg. Nice floppy crests and everything. So I was really proud of that. And you can, if you scroll through, you'll see a couple of different images of that animal.
Oh wow, yeah, super
That's the goal.
clean looking.
Yeah, and that's what I strive for: is clean structure, quality, good color. That's my goal in all of my productions.
Mm-hmm. Super clean, but I also like the kind of contrast modeling of the head too, and then it gets like really clean after that, and then a little bit of
Yeah,
modeling.
he stayed here, and his name is Go Speed Racer Go.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so he's a young adult male here, but that's
Super pretty.
yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
These are really, really beautiful geckos, and now people can see your page, go and follow you if they're not already. But like, yeah, this is like so
That's
crazy.
goosebumps.
Yeah, that's absolutely so pretty.
Thank you.
I like the kind of also like the difference in texture with the spots too, like the shades of it. Like you have the light, then you have the dark, different colors. You have ones that are like sharper, but also ones that are more smudged like. It's very just a lot going on in one animal. But it's also kind of a clean, it's a kind of clean looking too, but the contrast, I don't know, there's just a lot going on. I find it very cool.
Yeah, that's what makes these fun.
Yeah, totally awesome. Well, that was
Thank
see if I
you.
have any. I think I saw some questions.
Yeah,
pop
there
up.
were a couple of things.
I missed it. Ooh, that's a hard one.
That is so hard. Um, seeing as my numbers, I mean, I guess I would have to say the Cresteds, just because that's they're. I say they're kind of like Lay's potato chips. You can't have just one. That old commercial, but I just they just hold such a special place in my heart, and I'd have to say that just because of that. But there are so many species that I really do love. I'd say aside from that, it would be my white lip python. That love that thing. It's just gorgeous.
I've seen some photos.
I've had the Southerns and the Northerns, but I like the Southerns. They are larger, they're more docile, and then they're more black instead of the gold tones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a little bit of a sleeker look. Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
For me, ooh.
Yeah, what would you choose?
I don't know. I mean, I probably the Chewies, if I'm being honest, because I love how, I mean, I like the ball pythons too, but the Chewies just have that like personality with them and like the colors. And I don't know, kind of fell in love with them. They're kind of like a magical kind of creature. Yes, I don't know, but
they're very different, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're very smart.
Their personalities, they're
usually when I come in at night, they're all like plastered against the front because they're either being sprayed or fed or something like that. And then there's one, I think you probably can't, I think in this cage, he'll like just run to the front where I open the cage and then he'll just jump on my hand, go up to the shoulder, and then I walk around and feed and clean. He'll just like hang out. So he's like, oh, hang out, buddy. But he just always does that.
And to your point, what you just said, and people joke about crested geckos having one brain cell, and they are very derpy. However, they are smarter than we give them credit for, because I've got one girl, for example, and she knows when I come in the room, I'm about to feed her. She'll go to the ledge and she'll wait for her food and she'll do the thing. And then I've got another male who knows every time I open the enclosure, he just casually walks out and he just wants to sit with it. He's just super, super chill and lovey-dovey. So they do have personalities and they do learn things. Mm-hmm.
They do. Yep. I find like my males are a little more lovey-dovey, like Venom. That's the one that's in that cage up there that's always out. But I tend to find, not that saying that the females aren't, the female breeders that I have, I just kind of leave them alone. I don't want to stress them out too much, but they're a little more hidden than the male. They see me and they're just like, hello. I have a funny video on my Instagram where I have they're always watching me, because I just go through all the cages and they're all like, hey, where's our food at?
They do. They know it, that you feed them. So they're like, hey.
There was also somebody I had on, they had those like container store containers, and one had gotten out and they noticed something was off because all the other geckos were at the front and they were all looking in the same general direction. So they were noticing that one had gotten out of the container, that they all, that's kind of freaky to me too.
Yeah.
They're not stupid. Yeah. They're like, hey, he's out,
Yeah.
So,
Well, I did see we had another question on there too about the leucistics.
oh yeah, answer that and wrap things up.
Leucistics look solid white as adults, or will they always look this kind of? Well, I mean, this is pretty much an adult that I showed a minute ago. I'll take one back out just for a moment. They do. There is a degree of white on the lats sometimes, but it varies from animal to animal. They're all going to look pretty translucent. So that's the side right there. Sometimes I've got like a female that she doesn't have any of this coloration on her dorsum at all, but she has some white right here, but it's like little splotches of it. And then here's the other side. If you can, oh, you failed. And they're so chill. They're used to being handled because I show them to people quite a bit. Uh-oh, let's not do that. But so the other side, they're not really going to change a whole lot. So they'll pretty much look like that.
Super cool. Okay. Yeah, super pretty. Thanks for asking that.
Yeah,
Marcus. I think that's it. Yeah, we're up to an hour. That's like I said, we like to keep it. But no, it's been a great conversation.
With the target timeline. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on, bring up?
Not that I can think of. I think we've covered a lot of different parts of things. I mean, is there anything else that anybody has any questions or that you can think of?
Not that I could think. I'd like to have, again, the future to just talk also about the other species and kind of dive into those too.
Oh, yeah, because I've got a bunch of fun things that we didn't discuss.
We'll have to do that. Yeah, cool. Let's see, any other questions in here? How can people, this is where I kind of bring up, how can people follow you? I know I have your link to your Instagram in the description below, but how else can people follow you?
Instagram is primarily where I post and prefer messages to go. I do have email and I do have a Facebook page, which Facebook is pretty much just transferred straight from Instagram. So I do check that, but preference-wise, messages on Instagram or Facebook. And then I do have a morph market. The thing is, like I said earlier, I work full time. I've got kids, and then also I've got a chronic illness. So I can't always post things on Morph Market like I would like. But generally, when people are looking for things, if you don't see what you're looking for on there, I do have a lot of stuff, and I work with all the different traits and genes. So if you are looking for something specific, just shoot me a message or even call me. I don't care. And then I'll try to show you what I've got that fits what you're looking for.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. And like I said, I put the link down below. They can also follow, reach out. Overall, great show. The animals are beautiful. I could tell you've been doing your season. You've been doing this, for some time, and it really does show with the animals and the quality and the they're just absolutely stunning. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Perfect.
Yeah, this was a great time getting to discuss the animals that we love.
Yep, indeed. And hopefully you guys all felt that's one of the things I like is just the passion. It kind of inspires me, even though I don't work Crested. So still hearing the passion, the inspiration from other people, I can then apply it to my own projects. So perfect. All right. Well, thank you for your time again tonight. Nikki, I'm going to put you backstage. That's a wrap. Give her a round of applause, and I'll close this out.
Thank you.
All right. Great show, guys. Thanks for tapping in. Like I said, if you have any questions, just reach out. Look forward to seeing you guys. Next week, I'll have MS Farms on. This is a kind of a rescheduled one because she was sick previously. So I'm really excited to have her on to keep the gecko theme going. Again, thanks for your guys' support, and hope you all have a I somehow closed myself out. I've never done that before. That's okay. All right. I'll see you guys next week.